This is the Citroën Berlingo, the electric version of the Citroën Berlingo small van. As a Stellantis vehicle and a platform sharer, it is one of 5 electric vans that pretty much offer you the same proposition, and here are the vital stats. This particular vehicle has a 50 kilowatt hour battery pack and a 100 kilowatt motor. Now that motor and that battery pack combine to give you the equivalent of around 136 horsepower. So as you can tell, quite a powerful drive. Now, you get 171 miles of range. That is WLTP, so in real-world driving, that is going to come down a little bit, especially if you are carrying a payload. Speaking of payload, it offers an up to 800 kilogram payload, but of course that is only 200 kilograms less than the standard diesel version. So the proposition has remained pretty intact, and as we take a look around the vehicle, you're going to see that there are a lot of similarities with its ICE counterpart. So let's start at the front. The place you're going to spend the most amount of time. Let's hop into the cabin and take a look around. The cabin experience of the Citroën Berlingo is almost exactly the same as that of the Citroën Berlingo, and if you want to take an even more detailed look at that, please check out our review of the Citroën Berlingo that we did pretty recently. The link's going to appear just up here. What I'm going to do is point out the places where it is different, or the notable things that I just want you to take away with you when you finish watching this video. The big change that you're going to notice almost immediately is not a nice big infotainment screen or anything like that. It's actually going to be the dashboard instrumentation right here, which have of course been updated to show you charge of the battery pack, how you're driving, whether you're driving in a eco-friendly way or pulling back battery power by regenerative braking. That is all there right here on the instrumentation panel, which is very nice, very clear. There's no dials, there's no hard instrumentation. This is now all digital. Very, very cool, very clear, and very easy to understand. The infotainment screen, of course, is absolutely superb, and I have to say that the Stellantis platform sharing vehicles really do benefit from this massive, great big screen. It makes, as well, the electric version of this van just feel even more technologically advanced, having all these screens all over the place. You get the usual additions, the usual bells and whistles. You've got air conditioning, you've got your electric handbrake. But the other big difference is right here. Because this is an electric version, and of course it is automatic because it's electric, you instead have a drive selector switch rather than a gear stick or anything else. What you've got is standard at the top here, parking, you've got reverse, neutral, drive, and down the very bottom you have a button that you can press to engage regenerative braking. Now what regenerative braking does is almost adds that feeling of engine braking, and what it's actually doing is, instead of when you're usually driving, you are pulling power from the battery pack. What this does is when you lift your foot off the accelerator, it basically spins up the generators to make sure that you pull back power so that you add more power back to the battery, which is what extends the range, which is how they get to the 171 miles WLTP. If you're driving eco-friendlier than you would otherwise, you're going to pull some power back and you're going to get that bigger range. Other than that, the standard bells and whistles are all here. You've got your nice storage, very easy to access and open. You've got some overhead storage as well. And up here, instead of the standard pop-top box that they have in the ICE version, you've got a heads-up display fitted. Now the heads-up display is very useful. It shows you how fast you're going, whether you've got cruise control or speed limiter engaged, and it also shows you up a little sign which shows you what the speed limit on the current road you're driving on is. Very, very useful. And there you go. You know, apart from that, we've got a nice bench seat over here. Bench seats are always great. It means that you can squeeze 2 people in here if you need to. I mean, look, I'm not going to lie to you. The Stellantis vehicles are relatively thin vehicles when it comes to small vans, even in the small van category, and so if you do try and squeeze 2 people in here, there is definitely going to be some awkward knee fondling. Again, I always say I'm not going to judge, but there doesn't have to be awkward knee fondling. It doesn't have to be. It never has to be. So with all of that out of the way and the cabin looked at in a little bit of depth, let's head into the business end, and I'm going to show you how Stellantis have got around the problem of where do you stick a battery pack so that it doesn't make the loading area smaller. Arguably the best thing that Citroën have done in transitioning the Berlingo to an electric version is to make sure that the loading bay hasn't been compromised. In fact, you're going to see this across the entire range of Stellantis companies under the Stellantis umbrella, that no compromise has been made on the cargo area, and they've done that by slinging the battery packs underneath the floor of the cargo area. Very sensible. So the dimensions don't change from ICE to electric. All the dimensions are going to be whizzing around me right now, but what you're going to find is that all the practicality and flexibility of the Citroën Berlingo, the award-winning Citroën Berlingo, has been completely and utterly maintained. You've still got the tie-downs, you've still got the nice lining, the sort of rubberized kind of plasticky lining that they have instead of ply lining, although ply lining is something that you can opt for if you want to. It's even got a load warning, meaning that if you overload the vehicle, it's going to tell you about it. You're not going to be driving around with an illegal load. I do just have to say that one of the best things about these Stellantis vans is the two side sliding doors, which it's not something you see on every van, so it sets them apart from the competition, you know, apart from the other 4 vans that also have the same option. But anyway, we're going to go around to the charging port right now, so come with me. If everything I've told you so far hasn't yet convinced you that the Citroën Berlingo is potentially your next electric van or your first electric van, or at least something that you should consider seriously when looking at a small van, this is what might tip you over the edge. Now, there's a lot of vehicles out there at the moment that are only capable of standard charging, which means you're looking at like 7-hour charging times. But this, thanks to this combined charging port here, means that if you do find a CCS charger when you're out and about, you can go from 20% to 80% in just 30 minutes, meaning you can take advantage of all that range over and over again. And actually, range starts to be less of a worry. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to find a CCS charger to remove the worry of range, but it's certainly going to give you a little bit of peace of mind knowing that if you find one out there, you're just going to charge up straight away and you'll be back on the road. Do you know what? Before I sum up, I'm just going to say I sincerely hope you're enjoying this video, and if you are, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get notified whenever we post new content just like this. And if you are in the market for a brand new van, car or pickup truck, don't forget to head to vanarama.com and check out the leasing deals. So with all that said and done, the Citroën Berlingo, 171 miles of range, WLTP, 800 kilogram payloads, a smooth drive with 136 horsepower of power at your foot tips. It's a pretty compelling offer. The one thing that's going to stand in the way potentially is because it's a platform sharer, there are 4 other vans out there that will offer you the same thing. So at the end of the day, your loyalty is going to come down to the brand. And that's fine.